Hi guys, it's Knitting in Our Jeans and I'm flying solo again. I'm Carolyn and I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry and I post as Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram. I think I've posted a couple things about my ankle and my knee lately. Um, Saga. Um, I haven't been out of the house I went to the orthopedic office on Thursday where I found out pretty much a diagnosis of what's wrong with my right leg. Um, when I am, when I have a bent right knee, it's bone on bone. And so a week ago Saturday, I had done exercises, I had done free weights. I had done um, oh goodness, hamstring stretch, leg press, but only on one leg, not the left leg, the right leg only, because the left leg was still recovering from the tarsal tunnel. Um, and I had finished my exercises, finishing up with the free weights, was going from the basement up to the first floor, and I stepped on my right leg to go up the steps, and there was a screaming pain. Screaming pain. It was just like, oh my goodness. And the only thing that was different from when I had a screaming pain in my left knee was that I didn't hear a pop, didn't feel a pop, didn't hear any tearing. And I went, well, I got to get upstairs. So I took a deep breath, made it up the stairs, grabbed some ice bags, and stretched out on the sofa. Richard came and brought me a knee brace. So that was Saturday. By Sunday morning, Saturday night, I couldn't even have the weight of the comforter on my leg because it hurt my knee so bad. Took Advil. Sunday morning by 11, I said, we've got to go to Go Health and that's attached to Northwell Health, North Shore, etc., where my GP is. So I said, all right, let's go to Go Health and see what they can say. And if we're lucky, their x-ray machine works. So we went Sunday afternoon, which was the earliest appointment I could get. I found that getting appointments works really well. I only waited about a half an hour. So between the appointments and the walk-ins, I got in a half an hour. They took x-rays. They said they saw some extra bone, but their x-ray machine, their people are not as good as, say, the orthopedists. They sent me out with a leg immobilizer, which I dearly loved. Oh my God, it went from above my knee, from about 8 inches above my knee to 8 inches below my knee. I just love that thing because suddenly a lot of the pain from trying to get around was gone. And by this time I was using my walkers. So I had a walker, and then we found we had a walker from Rich's dad. So we were able to position them, one on the floor I was on and one in the upstairs, because we're in a split level. And the bathrooms there's no bathroom on the main floor. Of course not. So you have to go upstairs or downstairs. And actually after Sunday, I stayed upstairs in the bedroom except for meals, because it was just so painful to get around. I couldn't lift my leg by itself. I had to pick up and help it with the knee immobilizer to get my leg to do anything. So Monday, called my orthopedist at HSS, and they said, we'll upload the x-rays. We'll get back to you. Tuesday, call back, and they said, yeah, he wants to see you. So got in to see him on Thursday. He took more x-rays, and that's where he found that in the bent position, that knee is bone on bone. Now, we were hypothesizing about why all of a sudden this happened, and of course it's not sudden. Something that like that happens over time. But 2 weeks before that, on St. Patrick's Day, I had, if you remember, sprained my ankle trying to pick up the newspaper because the grass was wet. I skidded. I didn't fall down. I grabbed a bush, stayed upright, but my ankle twisted about 90 degrees, and so that was a 2 week trip, between ankle sprain, then that getting better, and then straining that to get the tarsal tunnel problem. And that seemed to be getting better, but that extra strain on the right leg, we think, was just that straw that broke the camel's back to bring this to the fore. And of course, was doing the weights on that leg, and it was just too much for that leg to handle. Anyway, the orthopedist says give it 2 weeks, get back on your bicycle, and then also start doing leg lifts, and maybe in 2 weeks it'll be nothing. Got a cortisone shot, and we're off to the races. So I started the bicycle yesterday, and it went pretty well. So today we'll do bicycle, and tomorrow we'll do bicycle and leg lifts, and we'll just keep improving. I did not have the leg brace on it yesterday. I'm going to put the leg brace on it today, see if that actually helps things along. I ice it after the bicycle, so rest, ice, compression, elevation is what I'm doing. So that's the state of the art here. Elizabeth and Ben have guests from out of town, so they are busy with them. I think you know that I finished my Sara with the smaller midriff a while ago, and that's in DK weight. But I also finished, oh goodness, I thought I'd woven in all my ends. I have another end to weave in. All right, I'll leave it like that. I also finished my fingering weight for Sara, and I didn't make the midriff smaller. I actually made it floating, which just means it's kind of short for me, but I wanted to leave it kind of floating. I do have a channel inside to provide some support for the girls, but I didn't do an entire interfacing. So I wanted to see what that would feel like this summer. It's a little less, well, more fabric than the DK by itself, but less fabric than the double DK. And I obviously now have one end to weave in. So that for Sara, so you can see inside, I have it 2 crochet ties, so I can drawstring this in and tie it. So I'm kind of excited about that. If I were to do a crochet version, it would have to kind of be tied on the sides in order to be able to get in and out of it. So I have to think on that. But what I thought I'd start next week is a pie shawl. And I know I started a pie shawl, but I ripped it out because I wanted the 2 red layers in lace to be equal height. So I think I figured out the math in that. I'm starting to figure out the math for the increases. So next week, we can start on Nevertheless Shawl because the lace is from my Nevertheless patterning. So we'll start that next week. I pretty much ripped it all out. I will start from the beginning. We will knit the tab, and then we will do the increases up through the first gray section, and we'll leave it at that. And then the next week we can start the next lace section. So for those of you who don't like working from a pattern and just want to listen to someone give you directions, that's what we'll do. What else? I actually been working. I have to tell you, I didn't knit much for about a week because it just hurt so bad, and I couldn't stand it. And honestly, asking my husband to bring up my knitting, I've got, I don't know, 4 projects by the sofa downstairs. For him to be able to discern what to bring up, we do a good job bringing the drinks, iced tea, water, that kind of thing, and snacks, yeah. I sent him to the grocery store. He says, well, I couldn't find the broccoli. I went, it's not like they're hiding the broccoli. I couldn't find the mini Betty Bells that were plant-based. Okay. So I'm hoping to be able to go to the grocery store myself tomorrow. Um, I had ordered on Amazon a set of ice bags, refillable ice bags, and they're supposed to be 6 ounce, 9 ounce, and 11 ounce. I got 3 6 ounces, so they have to go back. So I need to get over to Whole Foods and return them there, and maybe I'll stop by Stop and Shop and pick up a few groceries. We'll see. Do I actually need the mini baby bells? I don't really need them. Come to find out that plant-based cheeses aren't really much in the way of protein, but a lot in the way of sugar, just kind of the way they're put together. I do wish I could eat some regular cheese. I've tried goat cheese. Haven't tried sheep cheese. Perhaps. Maybe I'll check at Whole Foods and see if they have any sheep cheeses. And I can see if I react to that. Goat cheese is better than cow cheese by, oh God, a New York mile. But not good enough to really buy goat cheeses. I have to think on that. Anyway, I have been working on my Princess of Odds. See if I can get back to this, which I am doing in teal. And I have said that working with this fuzzy yarn is not easy, but I have gotten to the sleeve separation. So what I'm going to do now, and usually I do go down a bit further on the body before I start working on the sleeve, just to give that body connection a little more heft. But this thing is, it's got so much bloom and grip, it's holding together really well. So I think from this point on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the fake seaming that they got. They got fake princess seams going here. I will continue the fake seaming, and I'm just going to make it a box. It's really going to be a Chanel-like box. I will find my seams. I think I will add 2 seams on the side, so there'll be a total of 6 fake seams. And I'll keep you posted on that. So we'll see how far I can get on the sleeve this week. Now that I'm done with all of the patterning up at the top for the yoke. So that is as far as I've gone. I have no idea what Elizabeth is working on. I started working on the gold bead work that I got from Hand, and I can't remember the other part of the name. I think I have to work on my technique. No, I think about it. I have to work on my technique because I have to spread out the springy gold parts a little tiny bit so that the thread goes between or into the spring in order to couch it. So I've done one little piece, and I had to think about it. So what I want to do this week is I want to work on the math for the pie shawl, get that kind of down, type that, so I have it in a digital form. Hold on just a minute. Actually, Richard's calling. I'm going to hang up and weave in those ends. I'll see you next week, hopefully.